Hello and welcome to How I Built Bits, where I give you a cool tool, tip, or trick to improve your process and win back your time in 10 minutes or less. Clock's ticking, so let's get started. One of my biggest takeaways from craft and commerce is that I need to make more long-form content. I actually talked about that in the full episode recently, episode 322. But I changed my newsletter up because of it. That was more of a weekly digest that just promoted my own content and then moved on to tell people about the latest episode of How I Built It, and then some promo. I decided that I wanted to make that more long form and pose questions to the newsletter subscribers, which, by the way, you can sign up over at howibuilt.it/subscribe. It'll also be in the show notes for this episode, how to sign up. But there are two things that I did last month for the newsletter that subscribers noticed. First, I got rid of the quick hits section. Again, that was basically a bulleted list of my own content. And I replaced that with a 300 to 500 word essay on some top of mind topic. Now, truth be told, those will probably be turned into future episodes of this podcast because you need to repurpose content, my friends. But that's not the point of this episode. I made that change because I wanted to connect more with readers. And so the essay also has a question at the end of it, an engaging question. But I still wanted to tell people about all of the content that I've made throughout the month. So I decided I would add a monthly digest of all the content I put together, sent on the last weekday of the month. Again, those two things are related, getting rid of the quick hits and then doing the monthly digest. I still want to let my newsletter subscribers know about the content I've put out in case they missed it. But it also serves two other purposes. It allows me to promote the month's podcast episodes one more time, which means that the sponsors also get one more mention in the newsletter each month. So the digest really helps in a couple of ways. After putting the first digest together manually, I knew there had to be a better way, so I built version 1 of my monthly digest engine designed to aggregate and format all of the links, which I can then add to ConvertKit. Now, for members over at casabona.org/join at the $10 a month level, I actually give a full tutorial with constraints and how I did it and the make automations that get me there and the improvements. But that is members only content. What I want to share with you is the general idea behind it so that you can then maybe figure out how you can do this yourself. The way I set it up is thusly. I have a folder in Google Drive called Monthly Digests. And then each digest I want to have, or each content property really, gets its own Google document. This is because there are some limitations to what you can do with Make or Zapier and Google Docs. So each content property, Podcast Workflows, casabona.org, How I Built It, and Podcast Liftoff, all have their own documents. Then I built the automations in Make or Integromat, where they each watch an RSS feed, and when a new item is added, create the markdown syntax for creating a link that then gets added to the Google Doc, because Google Doc automatically processes Markdown, as does ConvertKit. So each of these documents gets populated automatically based on the RSS feed. There's also one more document called Interesting Links, which is supposed to be stuff I've saved to Pocket, but there's some weird limitation there. So I'm probably just going to aggregate that one manually for the time being. But that is kind of the skeleton to building my monthly digest engine. Again, I'm doing this because I got rid of the quick hits section in my weekly newsletter, but I still want to send all of the content I've created at some point, and rounding it up at the end of the month seems to make the most sense. I'm not just going to go hunting. I'm not going to go to each property and look at the date for each thing published and see if it should be there. I set up some automations to do that connect the RSS feeds to Google Docs. But that's it for this episode of How I Built Bits. I mentioned 2 resources here, which you can both find in the show notes or over at howibuilt.it/subscribe. You can join my mailing list to get these weekly emails and the monthly digest. Or if you want to actually learn how I built this automation, you can head over to casabona.org/join and become a member at $10 a month. But that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for listening. And until next time, get out there and build something.